welcome everyone to Fabi and Sylvie TV. As you know, I'm Fabi,
And I'm Sylvie.
and we want to welcome you to yet another episode of our Let's Talk Anonymous. So we have a wonderful subject to talk to you about today, and we decided to talk about forgiveness. So that's a good and also a tough subject to always talk about. What you think, Sylvie?
Definitely tough subject to talk about. And the reason why is because forgiveness, I mean, what is forgiveness? Like, first, we
Mhm.
have to try to define what is forgiveness, right? In order for us to have a better understanding of that word. And second, how do you forgive? This is a good question. A lot of people, I think, to this day, are struggling with that and are trying to figure out what it is to forgive and how do you forgive somebody, someone, a friend, strangers. Can you forgive strangers also as well? So there are a lot of questions that we have that we are going to try to talk about, and we'll see what we come up with together as a social media fan.
Yes, and like Sylvia mentioned, what is forgiveness? Looking into the Oxford Dictionary, I mean,
I
it
love
says,
that
right?
citation.
I'm quoting it from the Oxford Dictionary of English, right? It says the action or process of forgiving or being forgiven. But as you know, we got to tell you guys a little bit more about it. So before we get deeply rooted into forgiveness and all that is entailed into forgiveness, I don't know. Let's ask a little would you rather questions here before we get deep into the forgiveness, Sylvie.
I love the way you just switch up the subject and say, hey,
You
by the
have
way,
to.
can
You
we
have
talk
to, guys.
about
You have to get. It's still new, and you guys have to get to know us more, right? So before we get more deep into our subject of the day, um, I don't think within one episode you know us well. So let's find out some. Let's see what we can find out from Sylvie. So Sylvie, what kind of music are you into?
what kind of music I am into? Well, definitely, I love my Haitian music. Compa, compa, guyad, let's go. Um, R&B, yes, rap. I do like classical music too, and I don't know why I said it like that because there's nothing wrong with liking classical music. Okay, it's great. Relaxation music, definitely. Let's see. Instrumental music sometimes. So with that said, I'm into a little bit of everything. For the most part, I'm open to listen. I mean, I'm more of a sound person. If it sounds good, where I could rock to it, I'm good to go. I believe, yes.
Okay, I think for me, depends on the day. Um, I love R&B, so I love any kind of R&B music. Um, for some reason, I gotta get myself out of that. I love that kind of not sad, but like that music that just be making you want to think, and you have no reason to be mad or sad or crying. You know those kind of music that you're not even sure how to feel. It's like I just love you, and yes, you know, like. And then it's the kind of music where it's like you go from zero to like Monica to like just any sorts of R&B, soulful, like any kind of, like those kind of music that's okay, that's mellow. And then I go from that to 100% gospel, right? It's like, Jesus, thank you. You saved
Oh,
me.
hey,
Yes,
Jesus.
right? And then out of the blue, I'm like, this Miami comes out of me, and I'm like, city girl, Little Wayne. I'm hardcore rock, like rap, hip hop. I'm just So that's why I say I go from 0 to 100, and it's hard to nitpick. And sometimes my husband be like, Abby, who are you? Like, like I'm not even expecting you to even listen to that. Like, just go straight lyricist on Tupac, or just jump different levels, and you're just like, I just look like that. God is still working on me, so don't test me, okay? Like, so I think it all depends on the day and my mood and what I'm in the mood for at the moment, right?
Yes.
Um,
I think it's fair. I think it's fair. Depending on the mood, what's the weather out there? Because sometimes the
exactly.
weather, you want to listen to a specific type
Mm-hmm.
of music, sound, right? Then you want that love making Tyrese and all of that. And then after that, you go straight into hardcore. You like you
Right?
said, you're like Tupac, and you're like, oh my God, the
Right?
transition. The transition is like
That's me. That's me. So what's your favorite meal of the day? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
breakfast, 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 breakfast.
Breakfast? Really?
I will eat breakfast 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m. If that's the time that I wake up, breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. I will not skip my breakfast. Nope.
Okay. I don't know. I think I'm a dinner kind of person. I want to make sure that my dinner's always like nice and a good meal. I don't know. I'm trying my best to have breakfast. I used to skip breakfast a lot, and they say that's the worst meal of the day for you to miss. Like, you can miss any other meal, but breakfast should be the most important one. And I'm trying my best now to actually have
That's what the doctor
breakfast.
says.
Right? And that's what I'm saying. So I'm doing better. So one last question, and we're jumping right into our topic today, which is about forgiveness.
Mhm.
And what song always gets you out on the dance floor?
What song? Oh man, that's difficult. There's so many songs out there.
So
Talented
if you
people.
have one song,
Mm,
and it's like you're at a party and you were invited to a party, you don't know anybody there, but like the person who invited you, and everyone's dancing, and it's not your cup of tea. And then boom, this song comes on. You're just like, I forgot where I am. This is the song I'm going to dance to. Like, what's that song for you?
you know, I, I mean, Hmm. There are a lot of songs that I could say could get me like, oh my God, like I'm rocking this real good on a dance floor. I don't have one in particular, Fab. Yeah, I mean, let's think about the songs that are playing right now on the radio. Um, well, I love Cardi. Uh, then let's.
It
I know.
doesn't have to be a recent song. It's just like whatever song that gets you.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that's
you want me to
difficult.
answer?
That's difficult. You have to answer because that's difficult.
Okay,
Because there
so
are
I
songs that
have
will
two
get me there.
songs, right? I have two songs. The first one, I think, well, actually, I have quite a bit, but two songs is, I think that's the most for everybody. Juvenile. I don't even need to say what song that is. Juvenile, but I mean, listen, if you want the party to get started, you just play Juvenile. That's when the glum ones are saying, okay, it's time to go. The pastor's packing up, and the elders, everybody saying, okay, at a wedding reception, this is the song that comes up. Because you start mildly with like the cha-cha slide, electric slide, and then boom, when you ready to get down, this is when everybody say, okay, this is my cue and my time to go, and they pack up and go, and the party is on. So
Move
Juvenile,
the tables, move the chair out the
yes,
way.
Juvenile. And the thing is that we've always been like free spirited with our parents, right? They know like it's always family oriented parties that we have. It's not like you're going to a stranger. So it don't matter who's in the room, because these we are dancing, okay? Like to the next day, whatever it is. And it's a judgment free zone. So I always enjoyed myself doing when that song comes on. And then being Haitian, the minute Zouk, and it's not even like
True.
it's just a custom. The minute Zouk comes on, listen, I have to, next time you come, family reunion, Put on Zook, and watch your uncle and your aunt go wild. Okay, I think that's the Haitian
I need to see
anthem,
that. I need to see that.
right? It's the anthem that you just be like, is this my uncle? Oh yes, you will get a chance to see them outside of their comfort zone dancing. It's like, yeah, we grew up to this song. This art, so what you know about that? And it's a joy to see. I think those are like two songs at a Haitian party that you know they come on, it's over.
But I agree with you. So I'm glad you picked those two songs because those are my songs too. There you go. That answers the question as far as I'm concerned because that is true. You hear some good zouk music and you on the dance floor in no time, and then you hear Juvenile with that, and you
Yes.
are ready to dance also as well. So
Back
we
that
good to
thing
go.
up. Clean version.
Yes, clean version. Well, if the older folks are out of the way, it's us. Well, maybe we could play a little. Not so clean version, but I mean, yes, clean version. We're gonna keep it.
So let's go on into our topic of the day, forgiveness. So earlier, before I asked the question, I read the definition of forgiveness, and it says forgiveness is the first for sacred gift, and forgive the unforgivable. That's, whew, uh, I think as we talk about this, let's say there's going to be a lot of growing that needs to happen. And this is going to be a healing process. So I hope those of you that are watching, you get to heal with us because we're not perfect. We go through a lot of different things. And it says, why, how, must we, forgiving wrong. And though there are some of those things, those hurts that are intentional. And then there are those that are not they're unintentional, right? Big and small is not a simple thing. For many of us, this can be very challenging. So there's a lot of ways there are many ways that we are hurt by others. Can you hear me?
No, wait, that was really like kind of robotic. Go ahead, speak,
Yeah.
Fab.
Can you hear me now?
Ooh, we have a sound background noise in the background somewhere where your voice is like kind of trembling, like. And you see
Okay, so
again, this is what happens sometimes
no.
on
So
the
what
air.
I'm going to do, is it better now?
Nah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to end this one and then we
All
start
right.
a new one and I will combine
Now
the.
you're good.
Oh, am I?
Yes.
Okay. So, um,
Technical difficulties. I mean, we all go through them.
I'll cut it out. I'll cut that part out. So don't worry. Um, I'll just reread it, redo my intro. So one of the things that we spoke about in regards to after the defining what forgiveness meant, it says, um, why must we forget? How can we forgive a person? Must we? And there are parts that sometimes a person hurts you, it's intentional. So what do we do about that? And sometimes it's unintentional, right? Whether it's big or small, it's not a simple thing. For many of us, this can be very challenging. There are many ways we are hurt by others that we hurt others in our lives. How we manage those hurt is a key part of shaping our lives internally and externally. So, how can forgiveness help us become the person we want to be? What do you think about that, Sylvie?
Well, first, that's a lot to unpack. So
Mhm.
that's number one. That's a lot to unpack. We have several questions there. What is forgiveness? How do you forgive? And first of all, what's the process of forgiveness like? What's that process supposed to look like? um to be honest, for me, as far as forgiveness is concerned, this is something that I'm currently working on. I think that I haven't gotten there. um I haven't. I Because I feel that if I had, I would have felt it in my heart, in a way where whoever that did something to me, where I would have felt like, okay, I forgive you. I don't know. I feel like it's so much of a, you should be able to feel it in your heart, right? Where you forgiving that person and you let everything go. Like you let go of everything. Feelings of whatever feelings that you were holding on to, that is in regards to what the person did to you. And I don't think I have. And if I did, again, I wouldn't know how it's supposed to look like. Um, and that's why I'm still trying to figure this out as far as what is forgiveness. For me, I don't know what it is. A lot of people, do things to you sometimes that are unintentional, that are intentional and unintentional. So, with that said, you know, how do you forgive? For me, I know the defense mechanism is I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm done. I
So
just
are you okay? So before I ask the question, are you the you get one strike and you're out?
No, I don't necessarily. It depends. Again, it all depends on what the person is doing to you or did to you. I think that I don't want to say one strike you out or three strike you out because everybody's different. And I don't want to make it quantity where it's like one strike. No, I think it's more the action. I think that when you get to speak to that person and see, well, where was their heart? Like how was this act towards you intentional? And I think that's really what is the main piece for me. Your heart,
Hmm.
right? Because you took that action towards me, right? Against me. And for whatever reason, where was your heart? What was it that you were trying to do? Was it intentional where really you felt that way? Where you had to do that to me? So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of not so much of a easy thing to dissect as far as I'm concerned. Now I don't know, maybe other people, they say, well, you forgive, you let it go, and just go on about your business and tell the person you forgive, because I've heard that forgiveness is about you letting go. It's not necessarily about the person. And then some other people say, well, no, forgiveness is about you and the other person, right? Vice versa. So I think that is subjective in a way. What you think?
So there's a quote that Desmond Tutu wrote. And he said, forgiveness says you are giving another chance to make a new beginning.
But who is giving another chance? You are giving the other chance to the other person.
So I think it goes both ways, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
So forgiveness say you are given another chance to make a new beginning. I think it's a new beginning for you and the next person to make a new beginning. Because okay, so before I even go into the question and what does forgiveness looks to you, and like even going that deep rooted into it, it says it like I TD Jakes, okay, so I'm gonna quote TD Jakes. He says, I think the first step is to understand that forgiveness does not exonerate the perpetrator. Forgiveness liberates the victim. It's a gift you give yourself. A
Hmm.
lot of the time, and I know last episode I mentioned that I would be quoting the Bible and being kind of inspirational and motivational.
Yes.
But outside of even looking at the scripture, just
Uh-huh.
in terms of looking at it in his perspective, those were his words. It makes complete sense because a lot of the time we're thinking this person did this to me and they really hurt me, and I remember during our first year of marriage, they used to say the person who loves you the most or the person you expect to not hurt you would probably be the one that hurts you the most. Why? Not because of the action of what they do. Sometimes it's not comparable to what somebody else do, but because you care for that person and you expect
Mm.
them to care for you, like that level of hurt
It's
doesn't
deeper.
mean the same. It's deeper, right? So like he mentioned, it's not about exonerating like this is done, you're done, and that the act did not happen. By forgiving, you're not removing that hurt. It's not saying that you're not allowed to be angry, you're not allowed to be hurt, like you're not allowed to have these feelings. It's just boom, let's wake up, wash it out. I wish we had those things. And one thing's like God gave us that power of choice, and a lot of the times I always struggle with it. I'm like, why do I have the power, the free will to do certain things or to say certain things and to do certain things?
Hmm.
But in the midst of you forgiving, a lot of times they say a person may be angry at you for something you did that was unintentional, and you have no idea
Yeah.
that this person is upset at you
Correct.
or not talking to you. But then every single day, and this is the victim, they're thinking about this. Oh, look at Sylvie. So she thinks she's better because she's not on social media. She don't even call me to find out. Or just random things. And this person is building this persona of you and mindset of you, like you think you're better, or whatever the situation is like there's no healing and growing from that, right? And if I've learned anything this year, is the fact that you truly have to let go. You have to let go because of the fact that not only tomorrow's not promised, and I know we hear
Mhm.
that a lot, but you truly living in the world where you know tomorrow's not promised. And something so small could build to something big, and the root of the actual act become irrelevant. That ever happened to you? That whether it's a friendship or a relationship or a sibling conversation, an argument starts, it builds to something so big, and you even forget what was the first argument was about,
Yes.
because now you're not acting on your
First feelings is
true
something totally
self,
different.
right? It's like they always say, don't make a permanent decision on a
On emotion.
temporary emotion, right?
Right.
So as we ponder TD's words, I'll go and ask the first question. It says, what is your experience of forgiveness? Now, it can be on you as the victim or you as the perpetrator.
Well, again, for me, I feel like it's complicated to say. I haven't gotten to that part where, honestly, I haven't gotten to that part where I could say that I have forgiven individual. I don't know. It's weird. And if I have, I don't even know what it's supposed to look like.
So,
I don't
what
know
do
if
you
time
think
makes it that
keeping you though?
I guess I'm still like, I don't know. I think time helps you forget.
Do you really though?
Not, I mean, you don't forget, but it's like time lets those feeling kind of
So
dissipate,
give
sort
me,
of.
so we're here and we say we're going to be honest with each other. It doesn't have to be strictly in terms personal, but give me an example to your best of your ability without getting too personal of what would cause you to hold a grudge or lack of thereof forgiveness.
Loyalty. I am a person, once I'm loyal to you, I'm loyal to you. And it doesn't have to be only in, it's not a romantic relationship only, it's friendship. Like loyalty to me is big. So that means that once I'm with you, period, point blank. Like I got you. And having friends sometimes, at least I thought, when you think about, you think of a person, you think as that person as your friend, like your really close right hand person. And little do you know, like you were saying earlier, they have all of those
Mm.
things and feeling that is building up or are building up inside of them, like envious jealousy going on, and you have no idea why, because they are privy to your life to see what is in front of you, where they know your problems, right? So in knowing your problems, what is there to be envious of? What is there to be jealous of? Right? Knowing that envious is
Oh.
it's something that I I don't know. Why would you be envious of your friend or jealous of your friend for jealous of something that you don't have and envious because you want to have that, but why? Like I don't get that. Like I've never understood that part. So for me,
You know,
loyalty.
it's funny you said that because just today, as I was getting ready to remind me to send it to you when we're done this live,
Mhm.
because there was a post posted on one of my friends' WhatsApp status, and
Mhm.
it says a lot of you, like, I can't remember it word for word, but basically what you were saying, like, people envy you based on your success, but if they saw your downfall to get to your success, that envy will be removed because how you did what you did to get to where you are, right? Because a lot of times people tend to, they don't see your struggle.
But no, but now
So
let's talk about but no, but in the case where you have a right hand man person, right hand woman person, your close best friend, your close friend, they get to see that part of your life where you struggle and now you are
then
to where
that's
you
not your
are.
friend, then, Sylvie.
But they're
From
privy to
jump, from
hearing
jump.
those
It's not
parts.
because of your success. It's not because of your steps or your levels or your ladder. Um,
Envious.
I like to
First of all,
think.
let's do that. Jealousy is when you have something and you're afraid to lose it.
Mhm.
Envious is when you don't have it and you envious of it. You want it. So either or, jealous or envious, you have somebody that is next to you that is privy to knowing your life and certain things about your life where behind closed doors they know the struggles that you went through. So at that point, how is it that you are envious when you are here and you saw what I was going through? It's not that it was easy for me because obviously it's something that you could do for yourself also as well. And I don't think that knowing what I went through as far as a struggle is going to remove that envious feeling from
But
that
you
person.
know that, Sylvie, and that's what I'm saying. Those steps didn't happen like when you got your success. Those clues were there from the get-go. A lot of times we like to think um highly of our surroundings, and we like to give a lot of people benefit of the doubt, and this is why that we prone ourselves to being hurt more. And I'm guilty of that because of the fact that I always like to see the positive and the better part of a person even if they don't see it for themselves, because of the fact that now you end up being hurt, right? So a
Mhm.
lot of the times in terms of forgiveness, and I know, oh, I just put my chair down. So a lot of the things that we would say from the original question, which was, what is your experience of forgiveness? Um, it's been both ways. And a lot of the time, me being the perpetrator, I always felt like if I'm apologizing, I'm genuinely apologizing. And I
Correct.
would want the person to forgive me because of a lot of the things are wouldn't be intentional because I wouldn't want it done to me. So I truly would want a person. Sometimes I apologize not because I am wrong, but because it's just like I'll take the bullet if we can move forward. Because clearly, and that happens a lot. It could be mature. It doesn't have to work for a lot of people, but I would apologize to say, you know what? I'm sorry that you feel this way, and let's find a common ground to get to the next level, to work on our differences, or to make it like, what do we need to do to move forward from this? Can we fix this?
Yeah, but you know what? I have a problem with I'm sorry that you feel this way. I feel this way because of you. So when you say I'm sorry, I apologize and I'm sorry because you feel this way. Well, it's because of you. So therefore,
And like I said, that goes to when I feel like I'm not wrong. Okay. Like that's why I worded it that way. There are people who are wrong and who would truly say, I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel sorry of my feelings. I want you to be sorry for your actions that you did. And this is why I said, how do we fix it? Because a lot of the time, a miscommunication can feel like a person's at fault, right? Sometimes it's your action that gives a reaction, right?
yeah.
So ideally, when I said on the feeling aspect, I cannot change how you feel. A lot of times within the forgiveness process, we want to change the person's reaction because we are apologizing and we know I accept your apology or I hear what you're saying. It doesn't change the fact that I still feel the way I do.
And another thing that I want to add is that that quick apology also is a way where the perpetrator is trying to move forward, where it's a kind of dismissive because I'm still processing what you did to me. And sometimes I've noticed with that is that the
And you ask
perpetrator,
for
the
time.
the person that has committed that act against you is so quickly ready to move on. Oh, I apologize, forgive me. No, you need to wait, because how are you going to rush me to move on when you committed the act against me? No, you're going to hold up, because that's not going to work. You need to pause right here. And that's something that I notice people do quite a lot. When it's them being the perpetrator, they kind of forget, or like if they don't forget, they're ready to move on quickly. Well, I apologize. Let's move on from that. No. And I don't, and that's one thing too I noticed that kind of rubs me the wrong way. You cannot rush somebody into that forgiveness, and you cannot rush somebody into accepting your apology and not giving them time to process also what it is that you did to them. You were the one who committed the action to against them. So with that said, you have to be able to take in that victim needs time. Like, you can't rush them and say like, I apologize. Why are we still talking about this? What? No.
And I agree because a lot of times, like I always say, I need like my 2 minute time to process it. So one thing, we're going to get into the pet peeve of forgiveness as well, just like you said. A thing for me that's a huge pet peeve is the fact that there's no accountability, there's no forgiveness or apology, and it's the quick action of let's start a conversation randomly, or let's act like nothing happened.
Yes. Ooh, that act like nothing happened is the
And
worst.
for me, it's like that's a big thing for me that God is still working on me, because if something happened and I'm upset and I need my moment, I always say I need my moment. And when we're both arguing, screaming, regardless of
Mm,
if it's a friendship, marriage, whatever, we're not getting anywhere if you're not
correct.
listening to me, right? And it's like,
Correct.
even with my personal relationship, I'm always like, you're not listening to me. I don't want you to just hear the words. I want you to listen to me. Because if you listen to me, this would not be constant. Because now you will know. I think a lot of the time, it's harder for us to forgive the ones we love because we expect so much out of them.
We expect so much out of them, yes. But the other part to that is that they know us. And the vulnerability that
Yes,
is presented
yes.
to them, they have access to that vulnerability. They're seeing us, and
But it's
it
the same way for us, though, on those that we hurt. A lot of time, we think about me, 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 me. In the process of your hurt, what do you want? Because sometimes you don't even get to that point of what do I want out of it. We just
correct.
know at this point we are hurting.
Correct.
So this hurt will stay there if we allow it. They say misery loves company. So how are we going to bump it up and say, one, does it really matter? Yes, it does matter. So what do I do next? What's my next action to deal with this hurt? One, does it really matter? No. You're not going to say scrap that hurt, because no, it hurted you. But it's more or less on, I could live without. I could choose to love you from afar. The problem about forgiveness that a lot of us we're at that hurt level for years.
I see what you're saying. Correct.
And there is nothing a person can say to you because it's going to be like, no, this person backstabbed me. This person cheated. This person hurted me. This person used me. It's, listen, if you could write a list of do's and don'ts.
And I think that relates to what I was saying earlier as far as time. And I think that also this is the part, the stages of forgiveness. And I'm glad you bringing this up now because that is true. Stages of forgiveness. The same way that they say that there are stages to death, to grieving,
Mhm, mhm,
right? Grievance. I mean, to grieving, when you grieve for a loved one, right? Somebody passed away, and there are stages to that. And I think that there are stages also to forgiveness. And a lot of us probably will stay stuck at that time where it's like time and years and years
but
and
what
years,
is
and you there.
time though? Like, uh, you say you need time. What does time look like for you?
When I
I think
said,
by you saying time, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn because this is why we're here. A lot of us speaking from experience, we say time because we are the victim and not the perpetrator. Because we want to feel that level of power. That's when we feel out of balance.
hmm,
And then it's like, now it's up to me to have you crawl back. It's up to me to for you to do everything that you need to do to get back to this level. I'm holding the power now. So I'm
interesting. You
giving
know,
you
I didn't
time.
see it that way. I did not see it in this perspective, the way you put it. True, because it is holding power, time. Interesting. Okay.
So now you can say, you know what? He's the person, he or she apologized. And this is why I said it is tricky because we always look at forgiveness as us being the victim, but we're not perfect. We are most than we want to admit to, the perpetrators as well. And looking at it as the one waiting for that approval, waiting for that acceptance. And as you just mentioned, death, with things happening right now, that person could have just been okay to know that Sylvie said, I forgive you. I don't have to be friends with you anymore, but I forgive you.
It's like when you watch those movies and then you see how sometimes the mom and the dad is asking for their daughter and their son to come and see them by the bedside during the last hour because they know they're about to go. And it's like, you come into that bedroom hospital, in that hospital next to the bedside of, whoever it is. And it's like they're asking you for forgiveness right there and then. I think that's not fair. That's not fair to ask for that forgiveness like right there when you're about to die. That's
So,
another aspect to
so,
it.
so, Crash, Sylvie, we hold the power of our own life and our own journey. And I always go with the slogan, create my own happiness. And I
Mm.
say that because we hold that. And the minute you give a person the power to change who you are as a person, to make a person feel so much important and hold so much power in your life to know that this is bugging you so long and you don't change your character, you don't change who you are and saying, I'm not opening up my heart anymore. I'm not opening up my home to friends that were needy or whatever the case might be. I'm not gifting everybody friends that I take in as my nieces and nephews. I'm not like whatever the situation is. I'm not committing to working 100% 110 at work because I'm unvalued. I'm not going to do all these extra work for the kid. Whatever that reason, there's a million reasons to find all the negative things in life and why a person doesn't deserve you, your time, your patience, your love, your commitment. But what we always often forget is that just as much as we can make a list of the negativity, we can make a list of positivity. And it takes one. one time for you to say enough is enough. I'm not going to keep sinking into this sorrow. I'm not going to keep thinking of the first time I meet a person. It's going to be like, are you now you have to start looking into the negative traits of this new person of what the old friend did to you. So this person's coming in, they don't even have a chance because now it's like, boom, oh, they didn't even show up on time. That was the same thing the other friend used to do.
Yeah,
So
prior
then
to,
now you're just looking at negative traits. You're searching for a hurt that this person probably will never do to you. So the first step is to be able to say, I deserve to be happy. And the minute you say, I deserve, I will be happy. There's a
um,
5 things that I always say every day. Are you ready to hear it?
I am ready. I am listening. You froze for a
Okay.
minute there, so go ahead.
Find a reason to say you love yourself for the day. You forgive yourself. You're proud of yourself. Are you still with me?
Well, I am.
Okay. And forgiving is not just in general, but it's more or less on finding a goal oriented or what you could do different for the day. So I had to learn that really tough, especially being from home and working from home. Um, it's tougher because I'm harder on myself with the tasks that I want to do. And I had to take a step
Mm,
back to be able to say, it's okay, Fabiola, if you didn't finish your 10 checklist. If you got to 8, and I used to be like, I have to finish it. I will work until I'm done. Whether it's 10-hour days, 12-hour days, I will get it done because that's my goal. It's in my planner for today. It needs to happen. But then at the same time, it's like, you know, thankfully, no one's going to die. Nothing's going to happen if one or two goes into tomorrow. And it's hard. Like I'm hard on myself. So even as you thinking about forgiving yourself, you have to give yourself the opportunity. Because if you're hard to forgive someone, why should another person be just as easy as forgiving when you do them wrong?
correct. It goes both ways. Correct. That was the I can't even talk. Inspir-
Inspirational?
inspirational part that you threw in there. I love it. So it's like you giving us homework, right? Those five
You
things to
have
say
to.
to yourself.
You
I
have
love that.
to.
And again, this is part of what we want to do, and as we do this, those shows, right? Every week when we do them, this is the part where we really want to have you guys, our social media family, send us email, put it in the chat, post some comments under the video and let us know, right? How did you find this topic? How was it? Was it interesting to you? Did you learn something from this discussion that we have? I definitely learned something. I mean, my own cousin gave me a different perspective on forgiveness. Hello. um, with that said, so I think that those type of discussion are really good to, and they need to be have. Hopefully those discussion will lead into action plans for some of us, for most of us. I don't want to say some of us, most of us, because you can't just have discussion and then nothing follows. It's a waste of time, right? So, with that said, I want to tell you, Fab, thank you for this, because that was really, different perspective that you put forward to this today's episode, today's show. Right now, we are coming down to, the last couple of minutes of the show. We want to make sure that, again, subscribe to our channel. Let us know every episode that we post on our channel. Please put in comments, talk to us. This is happening because we want to make sure that we get your feedback, and how can we make this TV show more interesting to you. For those of you who are at home, or just got home from work, you want to discuss or have a topic discussed, let us know. And let's have that conversation and discussion live on the air. And that's about it.
Yeah, and before we go into our question of the day or scenario of the day, I want to leave you guys with this question, right? So it says, are there people that you have yet to forgive or you will never forgive? So why is that? Let us know in the comments if there's someone that you don't have to say their name or anything like that, but give us a scenario as to who you haven't forgive. Are you planning on forgiving them after watching this video, or why you don't think forgiveness is on the table for you? And I'm
For
really looking
them,
forward
why
to,
do you
for
think?
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Leave us
Hmm.
in the comments, and hopefully for our next episode we can share one of your comments to say or talk about the scenarios that you guys gave us.
Yeah.
So we're going to go on a quick little break, and then we'll be back after this. Give us a second.
You know I didn't go anywhere. I'm right
I was just
here.
going to say, you see your face. It felt so therapeutic. It felt like I was in a spa. Did you hear the music?
uh, we are having a lot of technical issues. I am not ashamed of saying that because while the break was playing and I was hearing again this little noises in the background, and I'm like, oh gosh.
Oh no, I think there's a music on the break.
No, the music is something that I was able to
Oh,
recognize,
okay.
but it was on top of the music. There was another noise, background noise on top of that music.
Really?
So yes, you'll get to hear it. You'll see what I'm talking about because I have a feeling that is actually going to be played in a video. You probably will hear it. Yeah,
Okay.
there's no way to cut that out unless we cut out the break. Hey, we're talking about all those technical difficulties that we are having, so bear with us.
So it's time for our question of the day. This is a good one, Sylvia. I don't know. I always look forward to your reaction to these things. Okay.
Hmm.
So, say, ladies and gents, your mother-in-law comes over and she hands you a check for $5 million to leave her son or daughter alone. Would you take it? Why or why not?
Wow, where do you come up with this type of questions?
Girl, Facebook.
Mother-in-law just pop up. Mother-in-law just pop up out of nowhere, and she tells you
Mm-hmm.
$5 million check. Hit
He
the
said,
door.
Pamela ain't got
Leave.
to keep went. Like, leave my child alone. Leave.
You know that's no, but seriously, where you come up
Girl,
with
I'm
these
keeping my sheep
questions?
right.
Where do you come up with those questions? Like, okay, $5 million, leave my son or my daughter. Whoa. What could you? My first question is, what could you have possibly done where she does not want to see you at all with her
And
son
that's
or
a
her
baby
daughter?
boy. Listen, that's a baby boy. If he's a mama's boy and she's like, I don't like you for my son.
Um, that's a great question. However, don't know. I mean, if he or she decided to be with you, I don't see how 5 millions is gonna help you run and hit the door. If you love somebody, you love that person. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. Are you taking the 5 million and then you staying and say, "Oh, thank you, mother-in-law, thank you so kindly," but I'm still staying with your son. I'm still staying with your daughter. peace. I mean, they made a decision. We made a decision to be together. So I don't see how money should come in the way, or when you love somebody, I don't think money should is gonna come in the way. I mean, mother-in-law, you can keep your money, I guess, right? I mean, everybody's different, but usually what I would think is that if you meet somebody, the man or woman's family, you would want them to actually like you. It makes the dynamic much easier because you gotta go to those holiday parties, those get together and things of that nature. And I don't know, I feel that you would want that family to somewhat be respectful, accepting of you, where you guys could function within the same space without having so much of a it makes things so much easier, right? You don't want to be, I don't know, I feel like it would be difficult to be with somebody where their family just can't stand you, don't want to see you, or anything like that. It's too much. You don't want that added to your marriage as a couple, and added to you as an individual,
Yep.
him or her as an individual. And then on top of that, the family can stand you, the cat can stand you, and the dog.
Not the cat.
The cat is like, meow, and the dog is like, whoa, whoa. Like, you're not coming in the house. I'm telling you, because they could
Oh, not the
sense.
cat.
No, I'm telling you, they could sense. They could sense. Like, if you're about to step and put that foot by the dog
Oh
already know,
my
like, yo, we don't want
goodness.
to see you here. We no, because they could sense that. I mean, I'm just saying.
Like, I think you hit it on the nail because for me, I'm like, the first sentence itself wouldn't work for me because it's like your mother-in-law. So by the time we reach to that mother-in-law level, I would have already known what I'm walking myself into. You get what I'm saying? So it's different for me because,
Unless they play the game so well.
like, okay,
I don't.
so I won't speak in terms of personally, but in general, I think my younger self would have been like, lady, I don't got time for your drama and your family. Like, ain't nobody worth my pain and my suffering. And I probably wouldn't take that first offer because clearly, if you could offer five, you can go higher. So, my younger self would have been like, for my pain and suffering, that's not enough for me. So, let's see if you could go up. I probably would say, if you
And
give me 15 or 20, because clearly you got the money to be trying to sell your son and
we can
feel like,
negotiate. Yeah.
let's negotiate. Let's sit at the table and get a mediator, and we'll go from there. Because clearly, no. Now I don't need your money. Now I'm gonna tell your son that this what your mama want, and now we for to get half of everything that you own, that you about to leave your baby boy, because clearly you about to get a heart attack because you're gonna be like, you the devil's child. So I did say my younger self. Um, Now God's still working on me. Now the Fabi, the woman that I became, would have been like, no, I don't foresee that situation because I'm very family oriented. And even through my dating process, I always felt like my father's opinion of a man always mattered to me. And I never got really, funny enough, I'm not even my first real boyfriend. Like, he was my high school
You
sweetheart.
break it up.
Can you hear me?
We hear you, but with a background noise. What is that? It's giving me. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yes, good.
he, and when we were in the talking stage, I told my dad about him, and I'm like, before we get any further, my dad has to meet you, and he has to
Give
approve of
feedback.
you. It
Yes.
wasn't even my mom; it was like my dad. In the relationship, I value whatever my dad had to say. Same thing here. It was like, this
Not
is
to
what
say
my,
that you don't value what mom says.
no, because she will be able to know. Because sometimes, mom's easier to kind of persuade the father, right? I went straight to the horses because I knew it would be harder his baby girl dating. No one will ever be good enough for his baby girl. So I went straight to the source instead of having to have, I've always done that. So nonetheless, I expect the same because I have a process. I have a process to dating. So if you do the same and your mother's opinion matters, I'm okay with that. I will be myself. I won't do anything for you to like me. You will get to know me, who I am as a person, and you make your decision on that. So a lot of the time, I think people mess up is the fact that you try to do over and beyond to please this amazing mother-in-law or whoever it is, and it just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I could be with someone who, one, my family didn't like or appreciate, and I'm just speaking for myself. It works. There are people who's happily married. They elope somewhere. They live happily ever after with their kids because some families are toxic. I'm just going to put that disclaimer there. I am not, that's not my case. So I'm speaking for my experience. I couldn't be with someone that my family, one, didn't approve of, and two, their family didn't approve of me because I'm the kind of person when our twins get here, whenever God bless us with them, listen, I'm like, you're gonna go to granddad's house, you're gonna go to grandma's house, you're gonna go
I'm
play golf.
babysitting.
Yes, yes. You're gonna go to grandma house, auntie house, everybody. We're gonna go to every
Yeah.
family reunion, every Thanksgiving at the in-laws, like that's my vision where grandparents have a shirt at graduation with the screaming your name. I want everybody to be together because that's how I was raised. We show up and show out for each other.
For each other.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't be in a position where I felt like I'm going to isolate you away from your family. You're going to isolate me away from my family. That's not going to work to make us work. Because, baby, maybe this is not, God knows my heart. He wouldn't be sending that person for me, knowing what I love and what I enjoy most, which is family.
Stop right there. I like what you said.
It's
God
true.
knows my
So,
heart, and He wouldn't be sending
no,
that
because
person.
a lot of times we sin, we do the picking.
But when
It's
you
not
don't
God's
do the
hand.
picking, when you don't do the picking, where that
No,
person
no,
enters
no.
your
A
life,
lot of times, and that's another subject because we're still on the forgiveness. We're going to get into that because
yes,
you asked the question, how do you know he's the one? How do you go from there? Because to get to that point of having all, I tell you, a lot of the signs are there. Is when you do the digging, you do the picking, you do the ordering of the steps. Because guess what? They always say, one, I always tell people, God will never give you a married man, honey. That's not your happily ever after. Two, God will never give you a person that he knew you couldn't live with and fulfill your desires and dreams with. Doesn't mean that you're not going to struggle, but that's not there. So a lot of times it may mean on your first or your second try, you find that person God's looking for you because now you were waiting. We're going to get into our virtues after, but now that guy went to God in order to find you, to seek you. So we're going to get to that on another episode. But I just want you guys, one, to remember about the forgiveness question that we talked about, but also two, outside of me saying my younger self and jokes about the money, to basically answer it, it wouldn't even get to that point where the lady would even feel comfortable to come offer me money because, honey, I would have been first strike, I would have been out the door already, even before married. Because can you imagine if after we're married, you're offering me money? So what? You weren't here when we got engaged. You weren't here when we got married. So what was your attitude? Were you in the pictures with me at our weddings? Like things like that is gonna make me think like, what did I do to hate you so much? Why can't we fix it? It has to be so much more to this where it's like, lady, we can't do with you. Like you're bringing our family bad names. Like, be gone.
that makes sense. I like that. So you see, my cousin was dropping some gems right now. So
We're
fast.
gonna get more into it, and the more you guys get to know us, you'll be able to see um that we've always been transparent with you guys in the things that we say. And to our viewers, I hope that like Sylvie mentioned earlier, you guys get to be able to share your experience with us because that's really important because clearly is girl chat, but I'm sure everybody go through different situations in your own. So what are you dealing with or coping with that one you would like us to discuss, or
Correct.
two, you would like us to even give you our feedback on it. Judgment free zone, like because we all go through our own struggles. Like they always say, you don't judge a person just because you sin differently.
And sometimes we do. And we have to
Yeah,
be able to recognize that we do and reflect on it and do better next time. Hey,
exactly.
I'm guilty. I've done it. But anyhow,
So, ladies and gents, until next time, thank you for watching Fabi and Sylvie.
see ya.